Emmanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
You know, we're talking so many years about identity, the quest for Israel's better future. Now, a few days before the Independence Days, before Pesach, what is your perspective? Where Israel is leading, is going? What is happening here?
We're in deep trouble, that's for sure, because of the government's desire to pass legislation which is clearly non-democratic. We're going into a period of uncertainty which I think will last for a year, if not more.
A year?
A year. That's my estimate. Because before that it won't be clear whether the government will give up on its plans to legislate this bad legislation, and it's not clear whether the demonstrators will be able, the resistance will be able to force the government to stop this, and that means uncertainty.
Let's go fast forward 1 year from now. How do you think is going to be the end game?
The end game will either be new elections or a reshuffling of the government, basically most likely as a result of economic deterioration caused by the uncertainty and the legal issues the government is trying to pursue.
By financial issues?
Yes, I think the government, it's clear that the hit the economy is taking is going to be taking is big enough to impact on the budget, and the government will not be able to pursue the things it wants to pursue, and the public will react, and so will the politicians in parliament today. I think they will stop supporting the government when they realize that it's not. It can't perform.
Even the leading banker of Israel said that it's going to harm deeply and badly with numbers. This time, first with numbers, the Israel economy.
Yes, clearly the impact, the negative impact in the most optimistic scenario is a 14 billion shekel hit
every year
for the first year per year in lost growth. And that is a big hit.
Do you think that Israelis are going to be feeling that in their daily life, or this is only macroeconomics?
No, this is going to be felt progressively, especially when the budget will have to be adjusted, and the poorer people will have to the money which is supposed to go to the poorer people will take a hit, and it will be clear that everybody will be affected. But first of all, it's always the lower strata in the economy, in the society, which will be affected.
Let's talk a bit about the violence that is felt on a daily basis in street in Israel.
No, the government is fighting back, and one of the means it's using to fight back is it's calling its supporters into the streets, and the people on the right are usually more violent than those on the left and center. And since they also feel that they have the support of the Ministry of National Security and Itamar Ben-Gvir, they are emboldened, and there have been several attacks which are close to the demonstrations and also separate from the demonstrations, and there's by now 41% of the Israeli public are afraid that there will be a civil war or a war of brothers.
Do you think that this kind of civil war or war of brothers is likely to take place?
It depends how the situation develops. It's a 50-50. I don't know. It's pretty bad, but it's possible to step back. For the time being, the politicians are continuing to fuel the dangerous development. The only thing which is a positive development is the talks which are presently developing between the opposition and the coalition regarding moderation of the legislation, which is being contemplated. But I think we will soon see that these talks are also going to hit a wall, unless I'll be very surprised.
You're thinking nothing will come out of the conversations
I suspect that nothing will come out of this. In the end, nothing will come out of the negotiations now, yes.
And this kind of backfire after it fails might be
the spark which will ignite when the right will realize that there's no way to go forward in the talks, and they won't get what they want through the talks. There may be violence in the streets. Yes.
And while the head of the Israeli fighters in the air, he says, well, I will not accept at any means any kind of you pilots not coming towards the next, I don't know, the next war or the next kind of let's go, everybody go on the airplanes. You're saying he really means that?
He responded clearly to the government's request to call the pilots to order. The statement he made was actually quite subdued, wasn't so forceful, and he knows who he's dealing with. So he knows that in the end, they're not going to step into the aircraft if it's for a government that is not working according to democratic principles.
Give me, please, the end scenario for Yoav Gallant.
Yoav Gallant will eventually be reconfirmed as Minister of Defense. Netanyahu realized that he made the wrong move by firing him, and it's good to have him in the government because he has a cool head and he knows where how far he can take this.
Let's talk about the federation. As part of the plan, as part of your book, as part of the lectures, as part of many hundreds of conversations that you've been dealing for the last years with top Israeli officials, members of the Knesset, how this kind of solution might help to find a resolution here in the Middle East?
First of all, sooner or later, these demonstrations and the whole resistance will have to turn from something which is purely negative against the government legislation and against the government has to turn towards something positive, meaning an alternative. Because one of the things which has become clear in this last weeks is that Israel needs an alternative form of government, an alternative form of governance, and the only thing that is really the only option that there is the federation. There is no real other option, which would also include the Palestinians, which have been completely ignored during the last demonstrations, and we've been trying to play it as if the Palestinian problem doesn't exist.
But there's an elephant in the room.
Huge elephant in the room. It's waiting there, and the moment we settle these issues with the present government, the elephant will start acting up, and we'll have to deal with it. And the only way to do that, both dealing with the conflict and dealing with our own government's issues, is changing the form of government, and federation is what appears to be the most likely approach to do it.
Do you think this kind of idea is something that can be acceptable also by the left-wing parties, the Labour Party?
I hope I'm bringing it to the attention, I have been bringing it to the attention of the Labour Party. Until now, there was no great, they weren't so happy about it, but I think under the circumstances have changed considerably. I think they will be much more receptive, and I hope we'll find a courageous politician who will pick up on it.
Let's talk a bit about the Jewish people in the United States after Biden's complete ignoring the possibility and resenting the possibility that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be attended to the White House. You're saying to them?
I think the Jewish community is completely supportive both of Biden's stand and of the demonstrators in Israel, and I think that's giving us a lot of hope that we have so much support among the Jews. The issue, how far the Palestinians should be involved in resolving issues, is still an issue of contention in the United States. Peter Beinart, who's usually he's a progressive Jewish liberal, who gave a speech recently, and he called on Israel to connect the call for democracy between what is for Israel, also for the Palestinians, and he was shouted down by a Jewish audience. So there are frictions there, but in the end we'll have to deal with it. There's nothing which will make it go away, and we have to deal with our own governance problems, and we have to deal with the Palestinians, and federations to do it is the way to do it in one big swoop.
Let's talk a bit about one good news, one upside in this situation.
The good news is the final verdict from the Supreme Court that permits the Palestinian Sumrin family to remain in their house in David City, in the old city of Jerusalem. The government claimed since 1991 that the property they live in belongs to the absentee properties law is under the absentee property law, while at the same time the owner of the property was living in Jerusalem. So that finally came to light, and so they're allowed to stay in their home, and that's a great development for for our holiday of freedom.
Let's talk a bit about one personal desire towards the holiday of freedom. For Emmanuel Shahaf,
I think I'd like to wish myself health. That's the most important thing, and peace for the holidays, and not only for the holidays.
Amen. People that want to be part of the community, that want to respond to the videos and to the posts that you're uploading?
Through Facebook, to Emmanuel Shahaf, or to Identity, the Quest for Israel's Future.
Only respectful words.
Respectful language preferred.
Yes. Emmanuel Shahaf, thank you very much.
Happy holidays.
And happy holidays.
Thank you.